Hello, everyone, and welcome to Social Media 101 training. Today, we're going to go through setting up your Facebook, your Instagram, and your Twitter. We're really excited to be here today. It was great meeting you all a couple weeks ago. I want to go through some housekeeping things first before we get started. One is all participants are going to be muted. So I, the presenter, is the only person that you're actually going to be hearing throughout this presentation. We're also going to ask you to hold all your questions that you will eventually submit through chat. I'm going to ask you to hold them to the end of the presentation, and I'll cue you when you can send them in through chat. We'll have about 10 or 15 minutes when we get done here to go through that. What I would suggest you doing is write your questions down on a piece of paper, or you can put them in the chat, just don't send them yet, or you could put them in a document, and then at the end, you'll send them all through me through the chat, and you could also send them through to Kiki's email as well. We will then create a question and answer document that will circulate in the portal for you. In addition, there are 3 handouts that I will be referring to throughout this training. One of them is the best practice handout. The other is the glossary of social media terms. So that way, if I said a word and you don't know what that is, you can look it up in that glossary. And lastly is the sizing guide. And I definitely will be referencing that sizing guides. And those guides can be found, and those handouts are going to be able to be found in the resources folder in the portal. All right, so lastly, at the end of this, there's also going to be a homework and activities exercise, which is also able to be found in the resources document. So I'll go through that at the end of our training. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Social Media 101 training. This is module 1 of 4, and this is how to get your social media set up and how we're going to be able to be using social media to help in getting out messages around the campaign for the prevention of opioid use. We will be talking about Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just real quick, and we talked about this a little bit when we met, but one is we need to remember that social media helps get the word out. It's obviously extremely popular, so people are using it to be able to communicate. So it is a great platform to find people, as well as engage with people, and as well as send our message out. And then lastly, it's also extremely cost effective. So social media is free unless we start talking about boosting and advertising and those types of things. So which we will touch on throughout the entire training. But I just really wanted you guys to understand that why we feel social media is key in getting your messages out. And you have to remember, too, that 90% of other organizations, coalitions like yourself are using social media. And that's another reason why you need to be on it. So we're going to get started with Facebook. And Kiki had sent out a survey, and it looks like about 90 to 95% of you are already set up with a Facebook account. It's really important that you're set up correctly because if you're set up as a different type of page, some of the features that we're going to talk about through the Social Media 101 training are not going to be available to you. Some of those features are analytics, advertising, which are those boosting of posts and spending dollars, as well as post scheduling. So we want to make sure that your Facebook page is attached to a personal page, so Facebook knows who owns that organization page. But we want to make sure that you are set up as an organization and that you are also set up as a category, and the category is community. So we're going to get started on setting up your Facebook page. So one is obviously you're going to need to log into your Facebook profile. If you look over, you will see that there is a place where it says home, which is right here. I'll circle that for you. You'll click that home button next to your name, and then you'll be able to click on the Pages tab in the Explore section, which will bring up this Create a Page, where you can actually pick the type of page that you want to set up. So you are going to set up a community or public figure right here, and after you click on that, your category is going to be community. You will need to create a page name, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. So moving on, what you're going to need in order to set up your Facebook page is a profile picture. You're going to need a cover photo as well as a username. So let's talk about these items. So one, your profile picture can be either your logo. It could be a professional photo of yourself if you are considered to be the face of your organization, so people know that they're in the right place. It could also be a photo of the people you serve in the community. You want to keep the image pretty simple because it's small. Or it could be some type of image that kind of depicts your mission. It could also be a cropped picture, image of your logo. But you want to make sure that people know when they get to your page that it's absolutely you. The other thing is you're going to need a cover photo, which is that background image. And that one, really, it's important that you use something that depicts your mission and the reason why people are following you on your page. So in regards to usernames, you want to make sure that you're using a name that can be well recognized across all three of the platforms that we're going to work on in general. So that's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you want to make sure that the name you choose also refers to who you are, where you are. In your cases, it would be great to use some type of city, town, or state to attach to your name. You also want to make sure that you're using similar names across all your social presence. You don't want to use any numbers, and you want to make sure that it's easy to spell and easy to find. I guess what I'm trying to say is that you don't want to do Drug-Free Ohio for Facebook and then don't do Drugs Ohio for Instagram. You want to make sure that they're all the same. So when you're going to search the name, if you can't find that name, meaning that it's not available, try using an underscore or a space, and sometimes you'll be able to find that those names are available. You just have to kind of skew them a little bit. So moving along is this next slide really takes you through having to claim your vanity URL. So this is extremely important, you guys, because you only get one time after this to change your name. So one is you want to make sure that you discuss your name with anybody that it needs to be discussed with within your organization, and you get that buy-in before you set up your page. And number two is you want to make sure that, again, everyone knows the name that you're choosing, number one, and that it's easy to find. So this next slide goes through the steps, and you'll have a copy of this slide on how to choose your name. You will see in step 4 that there is a check availability. That means that it is possible that your URL has already been taken, so you might need to edit that a little bit. So moving on, we want to make sure that you now set up the details for your page, which is really defining the way you want to work within your page. So you're going to fill out the name of your page along with any other information fields. So when you get down to that, it's actually going to look like this page here. And you will see on this page, and I will flip back, that there is something here called page visibility, which is the first one. That is the item that we're talking about here in this slide above, which is making sure that when you're setting your page up, that it is unpublished, which means that you are not working live. You'll see this right here. It's unpublished. You want to unveil your page after you get all your general settings in. So you're going to go to your settings and make sure that you have clicked Page Unpublished to be able to make sure that you're not working live. Okay? And make sure you save those changes. So before we get started, we want to also make sure that we add a call to action button. This is a very, very important button on your Facebook page in that this is how people can contact you. This is where you, if people are booking appointments with you, sending messages. So if you go to add a button, which is up top here, right, which you'll find here, and then what you're going to do is select which button you want people to see. So I would suggest you doing that even prior to getting to your settings. Now we want to start adjusting important settings. And this page, as I mentioned before, is where you do that. You click these edit buttons right here on the right. You'll see them all the way down. And when you click those buttons, that's where it's going to give you the ability to make these changes inside your settings. So you want to make sure that things like defining roles for your page, managing your page, all get done here. I am actually going to take a couple minutes to go through each one of these with you and kind of just give you a small synopsis of what they are. And then that way, if you have any questions or when you get to them, if you're not sure what to click, you can always reach out to us in an email, or you can ask that question at the end of this presentation. So we're going to get started here. So shortcuts. When you click that to edit, that's if you would like to save a few steps as you navigate your page. You can enable, which is the click that you're going to make, able or enable, your shortcuts so that you could pin your Facebook page to the shortcut section of your profile. So that way you get quick, easy access to your page. So that one's real simple. Visitors posts. You'll be able to choose here whether you allow people to publish posts, photos, or videos, or any kind of content to your page. This is really important because if you're worried about anybody putting up anything inappropriate, you can check a button that says review posts by other people. That's a little box, which means that before you let it get live, you're able to check it. So it becomes like a moderation almost. So we recommend letting people comment and post, but we also recommend making sure you're keeping a really clear eye on your page. And if you're able to put some time aside and you're on your page all the time, you might not have to necessarily do review posts. It's really depending on how often you're going to be managing the page. Messenger, when you click Messenger, when you go to this button here to edit it, this would potentially give people the ability to ask questions through the Messenger feature through Facebook. So it's important to click this. You have to remember too, some people don't like to post on your Facebook page. They would rather send you a message through Messenger because it's a little more private there. So we do encourage you to make sure that this is enabled. Tagging, this is where you are going to be able to allow people to either yes or no, and other organizations tag your page and share it with others. You have to remember, social is exactly that. It's social. So it's a great way to expand your reach and to reach other audiences. So this is where you can click other tagging. There's a little box there that enables people and organizations to tag your page and share it with others. We do recommend that being enabled. Page moderation is, this is where there's some profanity filters that make sense for your organization. So you can use this setting to make sure that you block comments that feature specific words. So this is where you'll be able to type in specific words that you do not ever want to appear on your page, and Facebook will automatically moderate that for you through a filter. Similar page suggestions is a great one because you want to make sure that you're showing up when people are searching for a specific topic or a page on Facebook. This is where you would click the similar page suggestions box. We do suggest you doing this, which would allow Facebook to suggest your page to people who are doing a search that are relevant to what it is that you do. So page updates. It is possible to let Facebook publish a post whenever you update your description or you update a phone number or website. This is a good practice to get into. So this is another great setting that you should look into. So you can edit this, for whatever's best for you. Multiple languages. I'm not sure if this applies to many of you, but if it does, this will help with translation. So your posts can be shown to your fans and followers in their language. So that way, if you are concerned that a lot of people are speaking Spanish or another language, you can click that here in multiple languages. Comment ranking is really a personal choice. That's really how you want to see the comments come in. Do you want them to be categorized by most recent or the most relevant ones based on engagement, like which ones are being engaged with more versus not? This is really just a personal preference under comment ranking. Content distribution is if you download a video or some content onto your page, this is where you would click the button to let people be able to share that video. So depending on the goals of your organization and your post, meaning that if you have specific goals for a specific post that you do want people to share, this is where you can restrict the downloading of these things, or you can let people share them. And you would do that just simply by clicking the content distribution box. Messaging settings. When you are in Messenger, you have the option to turn on a like an auto response assistant, which this would deliver automated messages. And those messages would be that, hey, listen, I got your message and we're working on a reply, so people know that at least their message went through. You could also let viewers or customers know you're not available right now, but you'll reply as soon as you get back. Or another kind of sample one would be, thank you for messaging me for the first time, and we're looking forward to hearing more from you. So it's sort of templated copy that you can set Facebook to be able to do. This next one is really important because it's the page role settings, and that is you need to determine who in your organization has certain control over your page and what kind of levels of access they get. So you might have multiple people working on your page with different roles. You'll likely want to keep yourself as the only administrator, or you might have an outside administrator, and then you can assign different people different levels of responsibility, and this is where you would do that under page roles. So as you click through the page roles in the menu, you're going to see that it will provide a description of what that role is made up of. So it will really help you decide who should be managing specific points in those page roles. Notification settings. Be careful with this one. This one can let you know that you're notified every time somebody gets on your page, or you are notified when there's activity on your page. You might want to only be notified when someone comments or someone shares. So in this setting is where you're going to set that up. So moving into Instagram. So as you all know, Instagram is mainly a mobile application. So while you can use Instagram to be able to comment and you can use it to share and such You want to be doing most of that from your mobile device. So get out your phones, make sure that you download the app, and make sure that you set it up as an organization page. And once again, just like Facebook, if it's set up as a different type of page, you will not have as many features as it is set up differently. So if you set it up as an organization page, it'll allow you to view analytics and insights for your account, which is what we do discuss in Module 4. So as I mentioned before, you can view your Instagram on a desktop. You can search, you can like, you can comment, but the majority of your activity most likely will be done on your mobile app. So selecting a username, again, going back to what I discussed in Facebook, you want to make sure that this username is definitely relatable and very, very similar to the one you used on Facebook. Make sure you're choosing something recognizable and close to your organization, possibly a location. You are going to be able to fill out your organization's bio here. You only have 150 words in order to do that. So make sure you're clear and you're concise about you, who you are, what you do, and any kind of information you want to make sure that people get straight away. So that's almost like your elevator pitch. If you serve a local area, you definitely want to make sure that that's in there. And then make sure that you add your URL, which is your website. That way, when people are on your Instagram, they can click directly to your website from there. Your profile picture, again, some people will use the same one as Facebook. Just make sure that it's recognizable. Make sure that people who don't know your organization would know it was your organization. And make sure that it's a 400 by 400 pixel, which sounds very technical, but you can go into our handout that I mentioned before. That'll be in the resources folder, and that'll explain to you why you have things set up in different sizes. If you do not have your logo, you can pick an image from your mobile device in your album, and you can upload that. And on Instagram, you could also take a new photo if you wanted to and use that as your profile picture. There is no cover photo in Instagram. Once you get set up in Instagram, you want to make sure that you're following other people, and you want to tell people that you're on Instagram. And this goes for all of your social accounts. But you want to make sure that it's on your website. You tell people that they can link there. If you send out an email or an announcement for anything, make sure that you're asking people to follow you. If you're doing any kind of advertisement or an event, make sure you're asking people to follow you. And also make sure that you're following others. So making sure that you're attaching yourself to other relevant organizations and brands. You can search by username and select hashtags that are relevant to your organization. So take a look at similar organizations and see what kind of hashtags they're using. And then you could start to follow people and start to make connections. This is an important slide because this will enable you to link to Facebook without you making sure that everything that you put on Facebook is on Instagram and vice versa. You have to do this link through Instagram back to Facebook. So you're going to go into the Instagram, into the gram, and you're going to go onto your profile, and you're going to go to your hamburger, which is what we call, every time, I'll teach you guys a little something, every time that you see this, it's sort of, we call that a hamburger menu. So what you do is you're going to go in there, you'll tap your settings, and when you scroll down, you'll be able to see the link your account, and then you can link Facebook. And that way, your Facebook will be linked to your Instagram. And by default, your Instagram account will link to your personal Facebook timeline, and you'll be able to share to each one of those platforms. Last platform that we're going to discuss is Twitter. Twitter is a lot shorter. It's sweeter, meaning that tweets are very timely and they're very quick. Twitter is going to allow you to get into a virtual room with a larger potential audience. So you want to make sure that when you jump in and out of conversations that people know who you are. Your 280 message character, character message allows you to connect with people and quickly and easily. So again, keeping it short and sweet. You want to make sure on Twitter that you're only following people that you want to know more about and that bring value to your network. Otherwise, you're going to find very, very quickly that you're going to see a lot of clutter and a lot of things that are kind of crowding your highway there. You want to make sure that you're tweeting often, but you also want to make sure that you are being very purposeful about what you tweet. Where to start is you're going to choose a handle, and remember, and a handle is sort of like your username in the other applications. You have 15 characters for your handle, so you might need to edit down what you're using for Instagram or Facebook. And the way you can do that, for instance, is that if the word is like Columbus, it might be C-O-L-B-S instead of spelling out the word Columbus. So you want to create a catchy bio. This bio is able to be 160 characters, so you might actually be able to just use the same one that you were using for Instagram. You want to make sure that you have a profile picture that represents you, but that it stands out, and that profile picture is the same, 400 by 400 pixels. And you also want to make sure on Twitter you get to use a header photo, which in Facebook land would be considered your cover photo. And that should be representative of what it is you do and your mission. And that will be set up 1500 by 500 pixels. And again, you can refer to the handout in your resources on sizing, the sizing handout. So that takes us to the end of the slideshow. And so does anyone have any questions that I can answer directly? I'll give you a couple minutes. Oh, so it looks as though somebody asked, how many accounts can I have on Instagram? The answer to that is as many as you'd like. You can set up a new account through Instagram, and it will, I'll be able to, if you have any specific questions on how to do that, I can walk you through that if you just send me or Kiki an email. I'll wait a couple more minutes and see if there's any more questions. Is it a good idea to link your personal Facebook to your business organization Facebook? It is if you are the face of the organization. You have to remember when people are searching on Facebook, they like to see a person and a human. If someone is not particularly the face, I would say do not link them. And also remember, the waters can get a little muddy between personal and business. So, you know, an organization, and as long as you're okay with your friends personally knowing everything on your organization page and vice versa, then you absolutely can. Unless there's another question, I just want to make sure that you guys know that you can go to number 6 on your training portal, which is the Social Media 101 for Public Health. What you would do is click on the resources box, and once you get into that resources box, you'll see your homework set up, which are the exercises that we prepared for you, as well as the 3 handouts that we spoke about, which are the best practices, glossary of social media terms, and the sizing guide. So thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you soon for Module 2, posting and following. Talk to you soon.